Hi, this is Randy Kirk, and I have done the math. I've been thinking about this all night, kept me awake, woke me up early. We're going to 700, and it's my job to prove that to you. Listen, if this is content that helps you, hit the like button. If you'd like to be more actively participating in this kind of conversation, Patreon is the place to do that. Join my Patreon. I'd love to have you on board. All right, let's take a look at what was said. I've just gone through the transcript from the earnings call yesterday, word by word, to make sure that I have, as best as you possibly can, I've tried to analyze and figure out what was said yesterday specifically. So let's begin at the very beginning. I had made auto predictions for next year. If you follow me, you know that I've been talking about 2.3 million as an absolute minimum, 2.5 as a good get, and even 2.65 as, if everything went perfect in the entire world. Well, then Elon steps up yesterday and he says, look, 1.8 million is our number. That's the number we're going to give the street as our prediction. And yes, internally, we are hoping, looking, expecting, going for 2 million if everything goes well. Well, that's a lot different. There's a lot of different space there between Randy Kirk and Elon Musk, and who are you going to trust? Well, I'm still hard pressed to understand how they could do less than 2.3 million next year, but there was a hint. And the hint was, well, maybe batteries are not that available. Elon said, we have enough batteries to do 1.8. We are definitely not constrained on 1.8. And if everything goes well, we'll do 2 million. So that suggests to me, I don't know, I'm filling in the blanks here. I'm trying to read between the lines that maybe to get to 2 million cars, they do need to have a good year on batteries. We'll talk about batteries in a couple of minutes. But if that's the case, then 2 million might be a great goal. And maybe they go over 2 million too. I can certainly make the case for more, but let's leave that alone for now. So he also said, if we have any batteries left over, another odd statement, if we have batteries left over, those will go into storage. I can see a few reasons why they might go into storage. One is the backlog on customers for storage is much greater. So it's holding things up. It's holding maybe solar installations up. It may be holding up customers that really badly are putting in solar systems and putting in wind systems. These would be utility customers, and they're really holding up these folks because of batteries not really being as unconstrained as stated. So if there are still limitations with regard to batteries, that could be a reason for the 2 million number. It's also possible that, batteries make more money, and maybe that's another good reason to put them into batteries. I don't think it's because of production limitations at the factories. We know that Shanghai has the ability to do 1 million. We've seen them do monthly numbers that would allow them to get to 1 million pretty easily. So it's kind of hard to see how they do less than 1 million next year. We know that that Fremont is already doing 650,000, and they just sent people in to try to get those numbers up. So why would they try to get those numbers up if they're satisfied at 650 million? I've been talking about 350,000 at Austin and at Berlin, and we know that they're already at 150,000 run rate. So maybe we don't get to the full 500,000 run rate by the end of the year. And maybe it's only 250,000 cars each this year. Maybe that's even a stretch, but at 250,000, that would still be 500,000. We would still be at 2.15 million cars. So I'm not sure. So maybe they can't do that many in Berlin and Austin, and that's why we're looking at 2 million. Again, I'm having a hard time fitting this into previous statements, but let's go with that number for now. So now we go on to another statement. A questioner said, are your sales price, your average sales price, going to drop below 47,000? And are your margins going to drop below 20%? So Zach was not putting these numbers out. These were numbers that were put out by a reporter. And he responded by saying, no, we will not drop below $47,000 per car, and no, we will not drop below 20%. He says, we'll do better than that, basically. I mean, in fact, he did say that, we'll do better than that. So what does better mean? Okay, I don't know what better means. So I'm just going to take, we could use these numbers in a bunch of different ways. We could multiply 1.8 by a higher number. We could multiply 2 million a year by a little lower number. We could say 2.15, and maybe that's the 47%. I'm sorry, the 27%, or the 47,000 per car. Anyway, I've chosen to do it this way. I've chosen to say 2 million cars at 50,000 average and 22% margins. And if you do that, that means that they would bring in $22 billion in gross profits for the automotive division compared to approximately $20 billion this year. So we had a $2 billion increase. Now, again, you could do those numbers a bunch of different ways, and you might come out at exactly the same as last year, tiny bit less, tiny bit more. But that is my kind of averaging around the numbers that we were given yesterday. And I'm saying they get a minor uptick, maybe $2 billion uptick in gross automotive revenues next year. All right. Next would be the IRA. I was talking a lot more money for the IRA next year. I think we're being sandbagged, but the number that we were given for next year is $150 million to $250 million per quarter. That would be the low number in the early quarters and the number getting higher as the year progresses. I'm assuming that is based on battery production at Austin. You're going to get the cells, all the money for putting the batteries into cells for the whole year, but of course that's also going to ramp. So I'm going to take all that and say it might be 800 million, and I'm going to say they're sandbagging. I'm going to say they're going to get $1 billion in revenues from IRA next year. Then we go on to energy. Elon has said that we will increase energy at 150 to 200% per year. He didn't say it would be 150% of the previous year. He said it would be an increase of 150%. So that means 1.5 times as many. So you have to add let's just let's back that up and say we did $4 billion last year in 2022 in energy. I'm saying that is going to be at least $10 billion and probably $12 billion. So 200% increase, 3 times as many. So I'm going to go with the 12 billion number. I'm going to say the margins are a little over 40%, and we're going to get $5 billion in new profits from that division. So now we have a couple of $1 billion from automotive. We have a billion from IRA, and we have $4 billion, $4 to $5 billion from the energy, giving us a total of around, let's just say $7 billion of additional revenue, additional profits rather, and with 13 billion in 2022, add 7 to 20 billion, a roughly 50% increase in profits for next year. Okay, well, that's really good in a recession. We're not even counting insurance. We're not counting used cars. We're not counting anything that might come in from new stuff like Dojo. We're not counting gasoline. We're not counting energy storage. I'm sorry, energy revenues from the pump, from the stations, the superchargers. We're not talking about service charges that we might now be getting from energy installations that have already been done. There's so many other places that additional profits could be coming in next year. We're not counting any of that, but we're saying we'll get a 50% increase in profits to about $20 billion next year. At 50%, I'm sorry, at that would be about, let's call it $3 per share. I'm sorry, I'm doing something wrong there. We're talking about going from 13 to 20 billion. That'd be roughly $6 a share for next year. $6 a share times, let's say, a 50 times PE. We should be talking 180, something in that range. for next year. Okay, but now let's go to the following year. Elon is promising and delivering on a 50% per year increase in automotive production. If we only get to 2 million this year, if we only get to 2 million this year, then a 50% increase would be 3 million the following year. The following year, we're no longer going to be in recession. Even if we're in a recession this year, we won't be in a recession next year. A lot of the risk off will be gone and will be risk on again. We will have people able to buy the cars and paying more. The margins will be greater. So just play ball with me a little bit here. Let's say that we do 3 million cars, which would be a natural expectation to go to 3 million. 3 million cars at, let's say, 50 back to 55 would be 165 billion in total gross revenues. And let's say that the margins on these now are at back up to the 27% level. Get out your calculator. That comes to $44 billion in profit compared to 22 billion in gross profit from 2022. So that would be a doubling in the gross profit. There would be almost no increase in overhead. There'd be some increase in overhead from that. But now we're talking about $44 billion there. If we do additional increases at both Lathrop and or any other facilities that might be put in for energy storage, and you also have increases from the IRA, I'm just going to add another 10 billion to that. Now you're at 54 billion. Divide that by 3 is 18. Let's drop it a little bit, call it 17. So now we're at $17 a share, 50%. 50 times. Now we're up to my $700 number. So that is $700 or more. Obviously, that'd be almost $800. So this is how I get to my number as to where we're going with the stock. And these are now extremely conservative expectations. I don't know how to be more conservative. I've taken exactly what Elon and all the other folks said at the call yesterday, which I think were conservative, which I think were sandbagging. Nothing in this is speculative outside of the range of what they're saying, and definitely is less than I think the capacity is. That's how I get there. What do you think? Comment below. I might have made a math error somewhere in there, and I know you would like it if I had the numbers up on the video here. But I put these out immediately. I don't send them out for editing, so there's no time to be doing that. Please like, comment, and let me know where I'm wrong. It's been great talking to you.